Michael Wilbon. And gentlemen, and Stephen A., we know the drill by now, right? We defer to our slightly older big brother who's in the Hall of Fame and give Michael the first crack at this. And Michael, you heard Tim and I just talking about this performance and about what Giannis did. If you think with a typewriter in mind and you're writing a headline for this night, how do you start?
I heard you guys talking about relief. And there's so many times I've gotten to go in locker rooms in the past 40 years and just wait around for a while. I don't want to be in the first wave of reporters who got to ask, what were you feeling? I liked it, and I'm going to speak for Stephen A. because I know he did. We both used to do this. You wait till somebody's had a chance to think about it, let it soak in. And so many times I've had guys say, relief. Relief was the first emotion, and I thought about that with Giannis, and I was there in the Toronto series. I wasn't in the bubble, but I was there for the Toronto series, and Tim is so right. Toronto, they stopped him, and by stopping him, they stopped them, the Bucks. And Giannis had to live with that. But one of the things I just admire about him is, and this is the bias of a kid from the Midwest, 79 miles down the road. He didn't feel the need to go to Miami or Los Angeles or Brooklyn or anywhere on the coast in a perceived bigger, more glamorous place. He said, I'm here. I'm right here. I'm right here with these cheeseheads. This is where I'm going to be. I'm going to re-sign here. I'm not going to wait for the money to become available in Miami or Dallas or anywhere else, New York, Madison Square Garden. I'm setting my roots down here. And he did it here. And I'm not going to pretend to know Giannis that well. I know him a little bit. But I loved when he did that. And he owned whatever shortcomings there might have been or perceived shortcomings, not winning. And he did it here. And it just, I think to a segment of us, and you guys being East Coast guys, the gentleman to my right and both of you, you may not understand what that feels like here in the fly across states, right? But people here understand what that means. And there's a special relationship now with Giannis that they're going to credit him for forever, because he didn't pick up and leave and go assemble a big whatever in a big market. He did it here. And I think all of that had to be going through his mind when we saw him sit on that bench and tears come to his eyes.
I can appreciate Michael Wilbon's point. It's very astute, as always, no doubt. But I'm going to tell you what I think is the biggest thing we should peel away from what we've seen from the great, phenomenal performance he put forth tonight with 50 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Just a sensational performance, Scott. The man never ran from adversity. That is the key to me. It's not, yes, you could say it's about staying in Milwaukee, and I'm not going to dispute that by any stretch of the imagination. But he didn't run from adversity. This is not a guy that lost in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago to Toronto because he had a bad night. He had 4 bad consecutive games because Kawhi Leonard stood up in the locker room after going down 0-2 and told Coach Nick Nurse, I'm guarding Giannis. And he picked him up past half court and prevented him from going downhill. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, devoid of a perimeter shot, devoid of stout shooting from the free throw line, seemed relatively helpless. We saw what happened to them in the bubble against Miami last year. This year, you've got people booing him, you've got people heckling him, you've got people teasing him about his game. No perimeter shot, clearly horrid from the free throw line. And he kept coming. He wouldn't stop. The ridicule, the vitriol, the humiliation, it didn't matter. One loss in a playoff game, going down in another playoff series, it didn't matter. He kept coming. And somehow, some way, you just got to a point where you said, excuse me, they can't stop him. Even though he's missing free throws, they can't stop him. Even though he doesn't have a jump shot, they can't stop him. And he kept coming. And then sure enough, as the games waned and the series waned, he started hitting more free throws. And then he ends it and he culminates it. In his final games, Giannis Antetokounmpo shot 89.5% from the free throw line.
He was Rick Barry.
17 of 19 from the free throw line. So we can look at the 16 for 24. You're big. They've got a width. They're thin at the front line. They can't stop you. You look like the big man in a small man contest going against this undersized Phoenix Suns. But where he really stole the show was that he demanded the ball, he constantly attacked, he knew he was going to get fouled, and he didn't care. And when you do something like that and you overcome that level of adversity, there's so much that so many of these players in the NBA can peel from what they saw him do tonight. And that's attack his weakness. As Cam Chancellor for the Legion of Boom once told me when I asked him a question about, what is it about y'all? Why are y'all so special? He says, we attack our fears. We come into training camp, and anything that scares us, we demand that we go through it so we're not scared anymore. That's what we saw Giannis Antetokounmpo do tonight, and that's why everybody looks at him and says, wow, what a deserving champion he is. It is special.
Him not running from adversity. I think about a man at 20, he was 24.
I can't hear you, Scott.
I don't know if you guys lost me. You got me? Can you hear me?
Scott, we lost you, I think.
We lost you, Scott.
Sure
We can't hear you.
lost you.
We'll get back to you in just a second. We're going to hear from Stones as we soon after that.
Just mean back to work. Back to work. You know, nothing more, nothing less. Ain't no moral victories or whatnot. We sort of saw what it takes to get there, and, you know, hopefully we see what it takes to get, you know, past that.
Go ahead, Rachel.
What does it feel like?
I feel like we just lost. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Knowing that for so long you worked to get to this point, is there any solace in, hey, I've had this experience
No.
and I can learn from it and I might get back here?
I mean, it'll take a while to process this or whatnot, but it's the same mentality. Get back to work. You know what I mean? I ain't retiring, if that's what you're asking. That's out. So, you know, back to work.
It's my first time doing it. You know, I've never dealt with this kind of hurt as a head coach. And I don't know. I just think that, you know, when you go through something like this for the first time, you don't expect to get this far. And so from that standpoint, what a huge accomplishment by our players to get to the playoffs for the first time and get all the way to the finals and have a chance to play for a championship. Like, that's hard to process. You typically get to the first round and you're done, and you learn, and then you try to get to the second round. We got all the way to the finals, and that hasn't been lost in my thinking. There's just a pain that goes with your season being over, but I've never dealt with this, and so, you know, I'm grateful, like I said, but I know this is going to hurt for a while.
The celebration that they'll have, but as you push back, and again, you try not to be prisoner of the moment in the moment, but how does this free him up from whatever conversation has accompanied the last two playoffs, where they ran into Toronto and couldn't get past them, and then the bubble, they just kind of flamed out? How does this change, in your estimation, what will be talked about as we move forward with Giannis and the Bucks?
If this is a staircase, he just jumped 5 steps in one night. Okay, he shed a lot of that stuff from the past 2 postseasons. I mean, Toronto a couple years ago, they bottled him up specifically. That fell at his feet. He owned it.